Welcome back to Not from Boston. I'm Bennett,
I am Harry.
and it's been a kind of a busy week.
Busy in a weird way.
Yeah, I like busy in the same way that busy work is busy.
Yes.
Nothing really has happened. Um, I think before we get into it all, I just want to talk briefly about like something unrelated, which is that I went to a basketball game last night. Like the
Nice.
first time I went to an NBA game in years.
Lakers or Clippers?
Lakers.
Oh,
Uh,
you know what? That's so funny. I shouldn't say anyone's name on here, but our friends' kids
yeah.
who we know very well, they were also at that game.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I went. It was like for a friend's birthday and like belated birthday thing, and it ended up being a really good game. Like it went down to the wire, but I was just trying to get into. I don't know. It was just interesting because I going to the game, I realized that it's kind of like having a conversation with somebody who doesn't speak the same language as you do fluently.
Hmm.
It's just like I'm
Sure.
like I know what I'm watching, but I don't understand what I'm watching. Like culturally or contextually. It was just, I don't know. It was interesting. It made me want to learn more about basketball. So that was
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, basketball is a great game, man. I played basketball on my high school team. Like I love basketball. I'm a big Celtics fan. I am less of an NBA fan as I am a Celtics fan.
Yeah.
So I really like the Celtics. I don't give a rat's ass about I really couldn't care less about like a casual NBA game until it's playoff time. Once it's playoff time, I'm in. Like
Yeah.
May, June basketball I love, but I think that's kind of the same with a lot of I think that's kind of the same with a lot of just like sports fans in general. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people pick up on playoff time. So a lot of my friends who don't care about baseball, when October rolls around, like, dude, baseball's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm a huge Red Sox fan. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. But I do keep up with the Celtics every day. I watch their games when I can, and I have them on my ESPN notifications. I love
Yeah.
Jason Tatum. I love Jalen Brown. But yeah, it's a good sport. I think the NBA struggles a little bit because the three-pointer thing is not a super fun. It's not fun for everybody to
Yeah.
watch, just like people jacking up threes all the time.
I will say, so I had never, I mean, because I've been to like, this is like my third NBA game in my entire life. I have never seen LeBron before, like in person.
Oh, cool.
And LeBron got hot at like the very last like
Yeah.
minute of the game. And I was like, oh, okay, I understand. You are, in fact, one of the greatest. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I
pretty
think
awesome.
there's very I know it's a hot buttoned issue, but there's a very real argument for him being the GOAT. Like he's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it was just watching him play basketball. It's like I don't know. It was like the same as like watching. Like I'm trying to think of like an equivalent here. It's like what same as like watching David Ortiz taking at bat. It just like felt
Yeah.
special.
Yeah,
I don't know,
you
it was
watch something special. It's cool.
yeah, it was cool. But anyway,
We
bringing
got a
things
lot to
back
talk
to
about, man.
yeah. So let's see the our last episode. Bregman had just been signed. Everyone's now at camp. Spring training is in motion. You would think that
It'd be
they
good vibes
things
all
would be
around.
as calm as possible in the media because, even though Bregman just won a Gold Glove at third, Rafael Devers plays third, but they'll figure it out and it won't be controversial at all, right? No,
No.
of course not. Yeah, no. Rafi Devers gave a pretty emphatic no to the notion of switching to DH. Um, and the dominoes kind of like fell from there. Obviously, Alex Cora said stuff. Tristan Casas backed up Rafi. David Ortiz backed up Rafi, which was interesting. Like he commented. Um, and yeah, I mean, what do you think about all this?
I think um I have a lot of thoughts about it. And we very actually honestly we very briefly talked off camera about this because I think we wanted to save our reactions and discussion for this podcast. I initially, my first reaction was I was really angry at Rafi Devers. Like that was my first gut reaction because that was the only comments
Yeah,
that came out, right? So I was just
right.
like, what the hell, dude? Like, come on, be a team player. Let's win us a World Series. You're not a good third baseman. Like we've talked about it on this podcast. He is a defensive liability. Like I think
Right.
he led the American League in all, I'm pretty sure he led the American League in errors out of
Yeah.
all third basemen, and he had a career low which was 12, but like he still led the AL in errors. So
Right.
um That's not good. However, I've heard some interesting counter arguments that have sort of shifted my views a little bit. There's a guy, Corbin from Red Seat Radio. I watch his channel, and he
Mhm.
had a good point. And I've heard some people talk about, talking baseball, the John Boy guys. Like I've listened, I listen to a lot of baseball stuff, and I think the point that's been brought up is he was brought in and paid a lot of money to be the third baseman, and he was told, "I'm going to be the third baseman." Now it's interesting because when initially the discussions of we might try to sign Bregman happened, apparently what I've read online, and who knows what the hell is true on the internet, but apparently he was not. He was told that Bregman is not a threat to third base. He's coming to play second base. That didn't happen initially because we didn't at first look like we weren't going to get Bregman, and then the Arenado thing shifted. And once we started saying, "Hey, we might trade for Arenado," Rafi was again approached and asked, "How do you feel about moving off third if we get Arenado?" And he said, "That's fine because Arenado doesn't play any other position." So what seems to have happened is the Red Sox front office took that and ran with it when we got Bregman. Like, oh, cool, he's open to moving off third. And I think Devers is like, no, I'm open to moving off third if the only option is a third baseman. He wants to play second base. So,
I
um,
think Bregman could literally play anywhere. I was listening to his
yeah,
interview on Section 10 today, and like
yeah, I did. I've
he
heard it
could
too.
take Connor Wong's job if he
Bro,
wanted.
he could play center field. He could probably pitch. Like he can play any position. And
Yeah,
so I still don't love the like I play third. Like the way he answers, like, no. Like, will you DH? No, I play third. Like, that's not cool.
yeah,
I didn't love the Cora comment either, though. Like, Heim's not here anymore. I'm like, guys, how did the team publicists not get them together and be like, hey, guys, they're going to ask you some crazy ass questions. It's the
yeah.
Boston media. They're going to fuck with you. Like, you got to be ready.
Right. I
What
think
do you think?
I think like there are a couple of things. One, I disagree that the contract he got was for him to play third. That contract
Mm,
was for him to hit 30 home runs a year.
yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Like I don't think anyone was really like whatever Heim Bloom promised. I'm like even I think if Heim Bloom were still here and he signed Bregman, he would be wanting to talk to Devers about moving around. Like I just like that's and also Heim Bloom is like the past. Like that's all nothing to me. This is like one of those things where because for the last few years I feel like I've been on the same side as a lot of Boston media in terms of like the Red Sox, in terms of being frustrated
Mm-hmm.
and just we all wanted the same thing, which was for them to do stuff. I forgot what it's like to be like uh, plugged into the world of the Red Sox and be on the and not be aligned with a lot of the media,
Yeah.
because this is one of those moments where I'm like, this is your fault. Like, this is you. Like this is the Boston media. Like you guys took a nothing burger and you made it a thing. Like, of
Yeah.
course, Rafi Devers says he prefers to play at third base. He's played at third base his whole
His
life.
whole life, literally, like since he was a little kid, he's never played any other position.
He has played here, like, and he's been here the whole time for the ups and downs, and Bregman just comes in. Like, of course, like it's a very like innately like I think human response of
Of
Devers to be like,
course.
no, I'm not gonna move off of third base. Like, what are you talking about? It's also something that is just like from everything I've seen from the players, it's not an issue. Like this is a thing that
No.
like Alex Cora and Craig Breslow will figure out, and Alex Cora like he knows his players, they love him. I
Yeah.
trust him to figure it out. Like Rafi Devers will, he will live. If he has to go DH, he will live.
Yeah.
I just think like stuff like asking Rafi Devers about his weight like is ridiculous. Like that's
Yeah. Yeah.
necessary. I think asking the question of like, oh, would you be open to being traded? Is like, I understand like why that question's being asked, but it's also like, guys, don't like, that's a question that you ask to get like headlines, you know?
Yeah, I just
Like, that's not, there's no good answer to that question.
I
Like,
also just think
just to
that
be
like what is the point of that? Like what are we
right.
trying to get? They do that in soccer too. I've seen like, oh, he came in out of overweight. Like what are we trying to do here?
And it's like, oh, are we trying to do like Nomar again?
Yeah, I know.
It's
That's where
like,
my
I
head
don't
went. I'm
want to
like,
do that
guys,
again.
like, come on. We need Rafael Devers. Like
But
that's
also,
crazy.
even at the end of the day, and this is the thing that really pisses me off about this whole thing, is like we can talk all day about like does Rafi move? Does Bregman move? Does whatever. it's like and like what about Christian Campbell or Von Grissom? It's like,
Hmm.
okay, guys, let's just think about this. How about Bregman at second, Devers at third, uh, Campbell in left, Duran in center, and Cedon Rafaela is on the bench playing a super utility role.
Yeah, he can
What
kind
he
of
should
pop
be
in and
doing.
out.
It's like that's it. Like that's you. That's where you have your cake and can eat it too. Like what?
Yeah.
Why are we talking about uh like offending Rafi or any of this drama? It's like there's a situation here where no feathers get ruffled.
Do you think that Rafi is more offended as well? Because this just kind of popped into my head. In his mind, he might be like, what the fuck? You're trying to take me off third and put Bregman there so you can cater to a kid who's never played in the major leagues. Because they're trying to move Campbell. They're trying to get Campbell into second base. That's what it seems
Right.
like to him. He might be like, what the hell, man? Like this guy hasn't even proved it at the big league level. Yeah, I'm not a great defender, but like I hit 30 home runs a year in the major leagues. Don't fuck with my shit.
Yeah. I think
And like another thing that I've heard is just real quick that's interesting is like, you know, I heard Trevor Plouffe saying this. Being a DH is like extremely difficult. My sophomore and junior year of high school, I played DH because there was a first baseman ahead of me. And it's hard. You get 4 at bats a game, and like every at bat is against a different pitcher. Like you're like, okay, cool. I got to see that guy once, and now I'm like ice cold. I'm in the dugout with my jacket on, like trying to stay loose. Okay, here comes another pitcher. Fuck, this guy
yeah.
throws 100 miles an hour. I have to get ready for that. Like, it's a hard job. So I wonder if he's pissed that he has to do that because there's a rookie coming in. You know?
Right. I also just think like it's interesting because there are a lot of I think if you're thinking about it like purely with like logic, like baseball brain, there are just so many reasons for Rafi to move off of third. Like one being health, like his shoulder, like he's still kind of making sure that his shoulder's okay so that he doesn't hurt that again. But like playing
Yeah.
third is only gonna that he can get hurt doing that, and that's not
Yeah.
great.
Absolutely.
Defensively, yeah, he's not very strong. It's easier to keep him on DH. Like all of these things, what's best for the Red Sox, yeah, might involve moving Rafi off of third. But like it's a long season. I don't think
Yes.
we have to
Certainly.
start from the position of Rafi, you're coming off of third. I think that'll happen naturally when other people get hurt. I mean, Yoshida is not a guarantee to start opening day,
No. No,
but
I don't
like
think so.
that's just kind of it's like, you go with the kind of motion of the ocean. Like it's not uh
Ooh, I like that. I never heard that before. I'm
you
gonna
never
use
heard that
that, bro.
before?
Woo!
Oh, that's a
Damn, that's tight,
thing
bro. I'm gonna
you've heard
steal that.
many. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like there will be a day in July and in August where Bregman is playing third and Rafi's DHing, and it's got nothing to do with like any of the drama that's like happening here. It's got to do with the fact that like Rafi needs to rest but still needs some at bats. Like it's that
Yeah,
simple. I just wish the Boston media would be like just a little bit more kind of
not Boston media esque.
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
really just happy I haven't seen any like Dan fucking like Shaughnessy.
Shaughnessy. Yeah, yeah.
Just
No,
like
he. This is the thing. He'd be all over. Like Rafi Devers. Like he's the type of dude that would run with that and say Rafael Devers request trade. Like he wants to be gone. Like he'll.
yeah, that
So
dude. But yeah, I
interesting.
think, and it's also just funny because like Giolito was saying like the other day, he's like the vibes are awesome here, and
Yeah,
Bregman's talking about like
Bregman
everyone's in
said
a
it
good
too.
mood. The Red Sox just put on their social media just all the guys on like a fucking slip and slide,
Yeah, bro.
like having a.
I have a good feeling about this team.
I'm like I don't like. I was like, oh, this is such a made up story, which is like funny because like us talking about it like doesn't help that, but it is.
Yeah, but like we're gonna be the conscious observers of like, there's a middle ground to all these things, right? Like I
Yeah,
feel like you can question certain things that are said and that's fine and also not take it so far. I think the Boston media takes things like really far and
I
it,
think
it it's
yeah,
detrimental. The players know. Like the players,
yeah,
people don't realize, but like when you listen to all these podcasts that have former major leaguers, like they all say, yes, we know what you're saying. We watch ESPN, we listen to
yeah.
podcasts, we read the news, we all know what the fuck is going on. Like everybody, you know?
Whatever Alex Cora decides he wants to do, I'm 100% good with that.
Bro, I trust that man. I know that there was a period where people didn't, but like I would trust that man with my child. Like
Yeah,
literally, I think he is such a good manager. I think the players, like you said, everybody really likes him. It's his
yeah.
team. Like people really feel confident. Um Yeah, I just think this is going to be a nothing burger when it comes to mid-May. I think in mid-May, Devers will be sitting on 10 homers and Bregman will be sitting on 8. And we'll be like, what the fuck were we talking about again? Like, what was
Yeah,
that
I
all
mean,
about?
that's the hope, you know. I mean,
Yeah, I
um,
would think so. Here's a cool
yeah,
tidbit, just a
yeah,
random.
yeah.
Saw a great YouTube video. I got to send it to you. It popped up on my YouTube algorithm. Trevor Story apparently had Campbell, Grissom, Marcelo Meyer, and there was another like big leaguer over there. Let me pull it up. He had a bunch of guys over to his house in Texas during the offseason, and
Oh
they did
yeah,
like a,
story camp. Yeah,
yeah, dude. I was watching
yeah,
that. I love that. That was so
yeah.
cool.
Apparently,
I
Cora had them all over for dinner like last week.
Yeah.
Like
Dude, I'm telling you, this team has vibes, bro. This team, yeah, Ref Snyder, that was the other
I mean,
guy.
we had vibes like last year. We just didn't have like the juice, but like this does feel different. Um,
Yes, dude.
which actually kind of leads me to my next point, like kind of what the difference a year makes. Uh, Cutter Crawford and Brian Bayo are both currently not throwing.
Yes.
Or I think Bayo's just started throwing again, but Cutter Crawford,
Crawford's not
it
throwing.
has plantar, I think, is it plantar
Fasciitis.
fasciitis?
Plantar
Yeah.
fasciitis, yeah.
And then I don't remember what Bayo's injury is, but he's like just starting to work back up. And like I'm like, okay, two of my starting pitchers are currently down with injuries, and I'm like, that doesn't phase me in the slightest.
Yeah. I
Like
know, because
I'm
look at
like,
how deep our rotation is. Bro,
it's
we can pull half the
amazing.
relievers. We can pull half of our relievers out and put them in the starting rotation.
Yeah, it's truly like a kind of incredible how like last year we were like, there's not a ton of depth here. Like, yeah, we're nervous about like the pitching staff getting worn out, and that's what happened. And it's amazing, like in a year, what Greg Breslow has done, and like, you know, Justin Willard and Andrew Bailey have done this organizationally. Just all of a sudden, we have like all of this depth.
Yeah. It's
So
insane.
cool.
In what,
We
a
have
year
guys
and
who
a
are,
half, 2 years?
yeah, like we have guys who are going to be in AAA, like probably like Richard Fitz, probably like Quinn Priester, who are there just because there isn't room on the major league roster
Yeah.
for
Those are
them.
major league players.
But they're going to come up probably. I was reading, so our April is nasty because we play in 21 days, we play 20 games. We
Yeah.
have, I think, 16 straight days with no rest. Like it's gonna be exhausting. I think like we'll probably see one or two of those guys come up at some point because like someone will get hurt or whatever. And
Yeah.
but it's gonna be like a tough month, and I think that's where we'll see a lot of those guys come in,
Yeah.
like really
Definitely.
shine. But
Yeah, I think I also just think it's always like the dog days of summer that you see things, people go in and out, people start getting hurt. Um but it is as you said last time an embarrassment of riches. It's pretty
yeah,
unbelievable. I mean, we have a serious roster. And I will say the more that I look at projections and whatnot and read things, the more I start to think like maybe we are like top 2 in the AL. I mean, I like the Rangers, but like on paper, is our team better than the Rangers? Honestly, maybe, dude. Like we have a serious,
yeah,
serious squad. Um, I'm really having high hopes for Trevor Story. I really have high hopes that he performs. If we get 130 games out of Trevor Story
yeah.
and
I
he slashes, hits an 800 OPS mark, like that's
yeah.
so serious.
I honestly, I would be happy if he hit like honestly like a 700 OPS, but
Yeah.
like I do think that I wonder if he's just gonna feel like less pressure just having Bregman there,
Oh, definitely.
and like
Definitely.
I don't know if that's what kind of contributed to all of this like the last couple of years, but um I'm hoping that like that puts him a little bit more at ease and like he doesn't have to feel like he's like the only grown up in the room.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't know, but I do really want to see if we can get a season out of him. I mean, it's just gonna be it's I just feel like so much safer with him on the infield and like him and Bregman together up in the middle there, and it's like that's awesome.
Yeah.
I really think that the odds are higher now that Campbell starts in AAA.
I
And
think he'll
not
start at the big league. I think he's going to start at the big league level. I think there's some, maybe not though, because they don't want to run the service time clock. But
well, that I mean, they also he's only played 49 games in the whole minor league system, like
yeah,
period.
how old is he? 22.
Yeah, he's a
Jesus Christ, that
I
is so crazy.
I think that with him because they have Bregman now, it's like we're gonna just see that the Red Sox are like, oh, we actually don't need. There's no hurry to get
Mm-hmm.
Campbell up here. Like he's gonna be big when he gets up. If he gets up, later in the year, he gets up. I mean, he's not gonna come up. He's gonna come up this year at some point.
Yeah.
But like we are, it's not like it was before we had Bregman where we were kind of leaning on him to do stuff. Now
Yeah.
it's like he can go and he can kind of still like kind of cook in AAA. I think if anyone, Roman Anthony has the best shot of making the opening day roster. I think
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna be like wrestling. I really think like I know they've said, oh, Rafael is our everyday center fielder. And I really think I'm like, you guys should not have said that because I do not think that's gonna be true.
Yeah, I mean, they
I don't think
also
that's
can
like,
say
I don't think
whatever
it
the
should
hell
be
they
true,
want.
personally.
Yeah.
That's not what I would, I mean, what do I know? But like I think you got, I really do think that moving Duran's gotten really good in center. And it's just like one more like bat in the lineup that doesn't, you know, maybe Sedan, Rafaela has like figured out his swing and miss issues.
Yeah, he has a lot of strikeouts and a lot of just
Um,
not balls in play.
yeah, like a 46% chase rate, which
That's
is
not good.
like this is gnarly. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not
so
good.
I don't know. I think that if he can figure it out like that changes things, but I just think like he's such a versatile player that I think locking him down in center field is like kind of you're kind of tying a hand behind your back. Do we want to talk about Vladi Jr.?
That's an interesting one because again, like the rumor mill just is making up crazy shit. Like I'm
Yeah.
reading the craziest stuff online. Apparently, we're like the front runner. That's what I've
Yeah.
been hearing. Um, and that seems to be corroborated by pretty much every, new media podcast or whatever. Everybody says he apparently wants to play in Boston, which is
Yeah.
interesting because his dad never played there. So that's kind of,
No.
but I
But
definitely don't think he's going to be a Blue Jay. That's for sure.
no. And he's not going to be a Yankee. Uh
Mm-mm.
yeah, for those of you that don't know, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a 26-year-old like super slugger. Plays for the Toronto Blue Jays. He's the son of a Hall of Famer. Um Vladimir Guerrero Sr. And he is going to be a free agent after this current season ends. He imposed a deadline with the Blue Jays to negotiate an extension, and that deadline was Monday.
And it has
So
come and
he
gone.
won't negotiate during the regular season, which means that the Blue Jays will have to kind of get in line with the other 30 teams, other 29 teams when they when the season ends in October.
I don't know why they didn't extend him.
I mean, I think it's like price tag. I think Juan Soto gave him permission to give an astronomical amount.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good point.
Um, and even though like we're not really giving first baseman like big paydays right now, like Pete Alonso didn't get his payday. Um, I think Vladdy can get it, and I think that's why. I also think I also wonder, if because if I'm Vladimir Guerrero, like what I'm doing is I'm my demands to the Blue Jays are going to be inflated beyond what I'm cool with. Like even
Yeah.
more so than you would from the outset, because uh you really gotta ask, and I think you gotta force the question on that organization is like, like what is your 5-year plan? Like
Mm-hmm.
what is your 10-year? Because that organization, their farm system is shit. It's just like it is. Their major league team is struggling.
Very, very mid. Their major
Yeah,
league team
they're
is mid.
so it's like, okay, do you want like what is the plan to build contending team and build it quickly? Because otherwise it's like you're signing Vladdy to presumably like a 12-year deal. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, does he want to spend the first 4 or 5 years of
Being
that
in rebuild.
deal being in a rebuild? And like obviously, like I don't think he does. So
No.
I'm
No,
sure that
he wants to
that's
win a title, dude. I mean, I remember
yeah,
when 2022, he was running his mouth like all like was about to be a movie, blah blah. Like he wants to
yeah.
win a championship.
So I'm sure that like part of it, it's like he was like, yeah, he was negotiating with them, but at the same time was like, I know like that you're not gonna give me the number that I want, and also you're not gonna have the team that I want when
Mm-hmm.
I like sign going forward. I mean, of course, maybe I'm wrong in the Blue Jays who have like signed some good players because
Yeah, they've had some big contracts. They
if
had
they
they
turn
had
around and are
what?
good.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, they gave Donaldson a lot of money back in the day for the time period that it was. Like they gave him, or
Yeah.
did yeah they did give him I know he was traded there, I think, right? But they
He
gave
was traded there
him
from the A's. But did he get traded from there to the Yankees? I thought there was somewhere else in the middle that he went.
Cleveland, but I thought that he was given
Josh
a
Donaldson did not play in
contract.
Cleveland.
What's that?
Josh Donaldson did not play in Cleveland, I don't think.
I'm pretty sure he did. I think he played for the
Minnesota.
Indians at the time. Oh, Minnesota, maybe. Let me look him up.
Yeah, I'm on his baseball reference right now. Yeah, Oakland, then Toronto, then
Cleveland,
oh yeah,
Cleveland,
you're right. For just
Cleveland. Yeah,
just for 2018, like just
because I remember him in the playoffs on
yeah.
their team.
Okay.
Yeah,
In fairness to me, he played 16
very,
games.
very, very mild. Yeah.
16
Okay,
games.
so he did not get a contract from Toronto.
He was in Atlanta? Damn,
Yeah, I
dude, this
remember
guy's
that.
career totally I only remember the Blue Jays, the A's, and the Yankees. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Um, damn.
He had that weird thing with Tim Anderson where like he called him
I called him
Jackie or
Jackie, I
something.
think.
Yeah, it was so
Tim
weird.
Anderson, Anaheim Angel.
What?
I think so, yeah. Signed I swear to God, I think it was a minor
No
league.
shit. You're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a guy who's like really interesting to me because he had really nice numbers. And then he just kind of in 23, I
Dang.
think it started, he just kind of plummeted. I don't know.
They're gonna apparently try him in the outfield,
I would love
which
to see him bounce back. Like I would love to see him
I
kind
like
of
Tim Anderson, man. He could put the bat on the ball.
I
I
I
mean,
loved watching him get knocked out by Jose Ramirez. That was the
yeah, bro, he's never been the same since that. I honestly think
yeah,
he like got a concussion or something. Like he's
I
never
think
been the
so. I
same
mean,
since then.
yeah. But I don't know. I think do you think there's any scenario where the Red Sox sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
Yeah, I do. I actually do.
Even if it's a contract that's like 600 million,
Mm-hmm.
you think so?
I do. I think what we're seeing and what we're gonna end up seeing is a salary, um, some sort of a salary cap is gonna get put on
Hmm.
teams in baseball, and it might nullify the luxury tax
Yeah.
because these contracts that players are, I mean, we talked about it in the last podcast. When I was at home in 2019 watching baseball, MLB Network on the offseason, they were talking about Manny Machado getting 300 million in 10 years as like this incredible thing that will not get crossed again. You know, him
Yeah.
and Bryce Harper, like no one's going to come close to that for years. We're now already staring down the barrel at guys making 40, 45, 50 mil a year. We're looking at $700 million contracts like they're no big deal now. So I think at some point, what's going to happen is there's going to be a salary cap and teams are going to have to spend a lot of money. And I think, fortunately, the Red Sox really only have two guys that are making.
Mhm.
And to be honest, Devers is not, what is he, 32 a year?
Yeah.
Like, comparatively, that's not an insane amount of money, you know?
Yeah.
I could see a world in which they do it. It would have to probably be like a deferred the kind of
Yeah.
thing, but a lot of guys take that now. They do that. So
I I don't think we'll see a salary cap in baseball because it will mean that there's another strike. Like players
yeah,
will never go
probably.
for it. A strike would be like baseball's entering, I think is in a renaissance or is in the early stages of one. I think it'd be stupid for us to kind of undercut that with
Yeah.
a strike.
Right.
You have to
I think it's
force that.
interesting because, like, to answer your question, like
Yeah.
about Vladdy Jr., if we're being honest with each other, there's only five teams that he's ever going to end up on,
Right.
right? The
Because of
Dodgers,
that.
the Red Sox, the Yankees. Who spends a lot of money? Maybe the Cubs, like every
Maybe the
once in a while.
Phillies.
Yeah, maybe the Phillies. Like, there's like five or six teams,
Yeah.
but like, you can automatically eliminate 16 teams from that list
Right.
automatically off the bat. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, the Mets are a high spending team, but like, there's no way that the Marlins are going to do it. Probably the Braves are not going to do it. There's no fucking chance that the Angels are going to do it. There's no fucking chance that like, I honestly could not see Texas. I couldn't see half the teams in the Central. Like, you automatically eliminate two-thirds of the league by just asking that question: what team is Vladdy going to sign for? It leaves you with seven teams. That's ironically enough baseball, because I think the way the rookie system is developed, which obviously like minor league players need to get paid more. That's like a whole separate discussion. But
Yeah.
I think because of the minor leagues, you have guys who come up that are young that have already played competitive professional baseball. Like they kind of have a glimpse of what it's going to be like. And so you do get teams like the Diamondbacks a couple years ago where you have like a Corbin Carroll who comes up the couple years before and is like really ready to play at the major league level. It can lead a team to a World Series. But I think is interesting because, and my point with that being, there is a lot of parity in baseball, despite the
Yeah.
fact that only 7 or 8 teams really dominate the payrolls every year. I mean, the Red Sox are in like
Yeah.
10th with like a 200 something $1 million payroll, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
But I do think it's a problem from a marketability perspective for baseball that like 5 or 6 teams have all of the good, the marketable players.
Right. Which is why I think like it's also, which is why I think it's okay to say to like the Rays and the White Sox and the Pirates of the world that like, hey, like if you want your that full share of the revenue pie, which a lot of that money is coming from these bigger teams with bigger
Mm-hmm.
payrolls, then like you got to put some more skin in the game. Otherwise, you're not going to get your fair share. And like
Yeah.
I do. It's like I don't know. I'm so sorry to our listeners who just like all of a sudden are like, why are
We're
we
on
like contracts,
baseball business talk here.
payroll?
I have a great segue,
Yeah, hit
which
me with
I
it.
had written down to get into today. Today is the first day in Major League Baseball history because the Cubs played the Dodgers in a spring training game. It is
Yeah.
the first day in Major League history that we had a strike zone challenge.
Yes, I saw that. What
Max
do you?
Muncy was at bat, and I don't know who was pitching for the Cubs, but
Yeah,
um,
he
the,
challenged it. Yeah.
and I think it was it was overturned.
What do you think of this?
I like this system better than just like an outright robot calling
Yeah.
balls and strikes. I think like I still like having an umpire because we talked about this like I don't know if we did it in one of the pods, but we've talked about it off camera for sure. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes you have an umpire who like he likes a ball that's slightly off the zone or slightly inside, and that's a consistent call every game. And that's just his zone. Like I think part of being a pitcher, being someone who did pitch, part of the game is like, okay, this is the ump zone. I have to pitch to this zone. Now, if it's egregious, like the Levon Hernandez shit from
Yeah.
20 years ago, where it's like fucking 4 balls off the plate, that's stupid. But I like the idea of having the ability to challenge and having a system. I don't know what the rules are exactly, like how many challenges they're allowed to get.
You get two.
Okay.
Um, you don't, and you get two. You don't get any more, I don't think, for extra innings, but you get to keep your challenge if it's overturned
If it's
in
correct.
favor.
So here's what's going to be interesting. How what percentage of challenges are going to be correct? Because we see a lot of kvetching from umpires, and now obviously we have the K zone, but the K zone is kind of an interesting. That's kind of an interesting thing too, because the strike zone is 3 dimensional. Like there's a
Yeah.
depth piece to the strike zone. Sometimes a ball might seem high, but it drops in. Like
That's the thing that bugs me about like having the little strike zone on the TV.
that's what I mean. Like that's the K zone. Yeah, it's a 3 dimensional strike zone. It's not just a square.
Yeah. I mean, I think the challenge system is the best version of this because I don't want to replace umpires, mostly because I think you need somebody to yell at
Yeah,
like
of
during the game.
course.
Like I like the arguments with umpires and like that's an important to me kind of part of the energy of the game. But
Yeah.
I actually think because I think we are very sensitive to where umpires go wrong in a lot of ways, where they get it wrong. But I do think that these umpires today are better trained than the umpires of 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Like,
Yeah, of
I think they
course.
know the zone better. They're more accurate to the zone than those guys. Because also, I mean, well, baseball also has changed. Like the strike zone used to be just wider, just because, and then we kind of like shrunk it down.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think it's good. I think we will probably see. I think you're right, or you're in the direction of being right, where like uh we're gonna discover at the end of the season that umpires actually don't get as many calls wrong as we think they do.
Yeah.
I think that
That's
that's
kind of
okay.
where I was going with that is that it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting study to see because obviously if it comes out that like 50% of challenges are overturned, that's a super high number. Like that is the point where you start to get to like maybe we need robot umpires like outright. Like that's crazy. But
Yeah,
I have a feeling it's going to be in the like 5 to 10, if that percent category, probably less. And
yeah,
without the K zone, a lot of the regional broadcasts don't have the square on the TV. And you do see players and managers getting super fired up and they're really borderline calls, but like a lot of them, if you really look, you're like, that is a strike. So
yeah,
I don't know. It'll just be an interesting experiment. But I
that's
thought that was really fascinating that that's how they're doing it. You can
yeah.
challenge, and I watched it. I was like, wow, that's
I
crazy.
think it's good that it's like too. Like you have to be
Yeah.
like really confident that you're right.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. Because
I
there are also, we'll say real quick, there are certain umpires who are, I mean, we all remember the 2018 Division Series, Angel Hernandez. He must have
yeah,
gotten what, 5 or 4 calls wrong at first base. I mean, it's
yeah,
like some umpires are really not with it, and maybe this is another way to weed out the ones who are just not up to
yeah.
snuff. You know?
But I also don't think like the umpire union, I don't think would allow there to be a challenge system or like any kind of ABS system. Uh, if they weren't confident that like the majority of their umpires were above board, skill
Yeah.
wise, because otherwise they're just gonna like expose their own like shittiness and then they're all done, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it's
but
hard because there are a lot of bad umpires, but
yeah, but also like not let's like forget about umpires for a second. What do you think it's gonna do to catchers and framing?
mm, I mean, I think it'll become framing is always going to be taught and it's always going to be important for young players because I know in the
Yeah,
minors they have the ABS thing, but um high school and college kids don't have it. I don't think the College World Series has automated yet, at least to the
I
best
don't
of
know.
my knowledge. So guys that are playing competitively pre Major League Baseball, minor league baseball are learning how to frame. Like kids are going to be taught how to frame. High school
Right.
kids, college kids, they're going to be framing the ball. So it's not something that's going to get eradicated. I don't see a world in which like varsity high school games and American Legion games have automated balls and strikes. That's not going to happen.
But I think, I mean, I think probably know the answer to this better than I do because you played for a lot longer than I
Mm.
did. But like when it comes to framing the ball, like the goal there is to deceive the umpire.
Yeah, and there's a few misconceptions that I see a lot of people talk about. Framing is not like grabbing the ball and pulling it back into the zone. A good frame, from the way I was taught, is you want to shift your body a little bit and kind of pull the ball in. So your body moves a little bit to the right
Mhm.
and then you pull the ball in. So it looks like the zone is here, but the zone's actually here. So the pull is just requires a lot less. So there's a lot more that goes into it. But yeah, the idea is you want to give the umpire a little bit of a false sense of where his own zone is, which is
Right.
why the body shift. And that I don't think, especially because 2 challenges,
Mhm.
if the batter, in my opinion, you can track the ball and you're allowed to look back when the ball gets caught. If the batter sees, if the catcher does a good job and he shifts his body ever so slightly and it's not a big pull and the batter doesn't catch a big pull and doesn't see it, they might not even use the challenge, you know? So I still think it's going to have an important part to play. I don't think it's going to be as egregious as it used
Yeah.
to be, but it'll still be a part of the
Right.
game.
But yeah, okay. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about
Because
it like that.
the batter, I would assume it's the batter's onus to charge or to challenge, correct? Or is
Him or the
is it the
pitcher,
manager?
or him, the pitcher, or the catcher can challenge.
Because if
And
you're a batter, like if you're hitting and you look back and you see a ball that's caught in a pretty good frame position, like and the guy's moved his body, you're not going to really know, like, was that really off the plate? Like, unless it's
Mhm.
absolutely ridiculous. I mean, some of the shit, I played in high school, like the shit they're calling at your toes a strike because the guy wants to get out of there. Like that kind of stuff is not going to fly.
Right.
But I don't think it'll make too huge of a difference, to be honest. It's a good question, but I
Mhm.
still think catchers will be taught to frame and it'll be pretty integral to their job. Also, because good framing, if you move your body well, it also sets you up to block better. So
Mhm.
that's just, it's a part of it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's very interesting. I mean, it's interesting that we're here. I remember this discussion 5 years ago and everyone's like, it'll never happen. Here we are,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I think uh this is like in a lot of ways it's like the pitch clock. Also, we should just say like the ABS thing is only for spring training right now.
Yeah, it's just a test right now.
Yeah. But it's like the same as I think the pitch clock to me, where like conceptually the idea is just horrid.
Yeah.
Like, but over time they figure out like, oh, we can't just like wholeheartedly replace umpires because just nobody wants that. And like
Hmm.
that's, that takes a lot out of the game. But like, okay, how can we kind of, you know, how can we kind of, I guess, augment or supplement like certain pieces of the game that need to be adjusted? Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, also like, it's like the NFL still has refs. They're very shitty, but they have them.
Yeah.
Like it's still even last night, like the NBA refs still had they had to do a couple of review plays for like whether or not a foul was flagrant or not.
Oh yeah, they always have those.
and they got them wrong from what I could tell. I mean,
Dude, this was my next point. This is what I why part of initially why I brought it up. So as I've mentioned on here before, I'm also a big soccer fan, and they brought in a system about 6 7 years ago now called VAR, video assisted
mm,
referee, and it's supposedly a guy. It's not a robot, but it's a guy sitting in an office overlooking the game, and he has a computer, and it's for things like offsides, fouls, penalties, whatever. Um, but he'll look, let's say someone gets called off sides and they're like super close to the defender. It's like this close. The video assistant referee can use his computer to draw a line and be like, okay, here's the defender's foot. Here's the guy. He's onside because he's behind the line that I drew. Bro, the amount of times that the video assistant referee fucks up so badly. Like,
yeah,
I'm not talking like, oh, well, okay, I can see why he thought, like, no, dude, bad, really bad for every team. Every team has at least 5 stories every season of like bad VAR calls
yeah,
to the point where now fans are writing petition letters to take it away because it was actually better pre technological intervention.
interesting.
So it'll be really interesting to see if the constant challenging wastes time, if it's not accurate. I mean, there's a lot of variables to this thing that are not just getting the balls and strikes um, called by means of automation. Like there's a lot of time wasting. There's a lot of like, there is a lot of room for computer and human error involved in this stuff, but it's really interesting. I mean, that has been a huge controversy in the soccer world for like a decade almost now. How absolutely horrible this VAR experiment has been, and they're still doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen instant replay get it wrong a couple of times.
Definitely,
I
dude.
actually, I've
Yeah.
spoken to a couple of people who actually work in New York at the instant replay like center,
Interesting.
and yeah, that's a job I kind of like. I really want it, but I also like really don't. Like the pressure would just kill
It's
me.
brutal. Brutal. Well, I'll tell you what though, the one I'll send you this video afterwards, and you guys should
mm,
all go look this up. But go look up. I don't remember who it was who hit the home runs. Look up. It was the Indians before the Guardians. Cleveland Indians bad home run replay. Go look that up on YouTube.
okay.
That is the worst. I think it might have been Angel Hernandez, but the guy hits a very clear home run. And there's a
Yeah.
little clear facade on top of the wall, and it hits the facade, but it's over the yellow, like way over. And it's a game tying home run in the ninth. And I think it's Angel Hernandez. I might be butchering that, but he comes out and says it's a double, and they instant replay it, and he still says it's a double, and it's so clearly a fucking home run.
Like
Like it does happen.
I have a vague memory of what you're talking about. I remember actually like really I forget when it was. I think it was 2023. We were at an Angels Red Sox game, and there was a play at second. Uh, I think it was like something like I forget if it was like a caught stealing thing or just a relay from the outfield, but we thought that the runner was out at second, and we were adamant. And it was a Red Sox runner, I think, and we were like
Yeah.
adamant they got the call wrong. All our other Red Sox fans were like, "You guys got the call wrong." And then they went to review it, and then they put it up on the scoreboard. They put the like slow mo on the scoreboard. We all look up and we just see that we're like, oh nope, we were wrong.
Yeah.
Shit,
Yeah.
sorry guys. Like because we were like yelling at the umpires,
Yeah,
like,
I know.
oh,
You look and you're like, oh shit. Yeah,
oh.
he's definitely not. I gotta find this video, dude. I wish we could like send it in the Substack. It's so bad. I mean, it's just like, what the fuck is that? How do you
Yeah,
miss that? Um, but long story short, like it just remains to be seen. It's an
yeah,
experiment. Let's see what happens. I'm all for experimentation in sports. Like I really think that this is something people have wanted for a while. So we'll see. I have another interesting talking point for you.
okay. I'm wondering if it's the same one that I'm about to bring up, but go for it.
Mike Trout.
Oh, okay, not what I was gonna do, but yeah, go for it.
Mike Trout moving to right field to prevent
Yes,
injury.
yeah,
Does that make any difference in injury prevention?
yes.
Really? Why so? I have my own thoughts too, but why so?
Because center fields, I think in any ballpark, but in Angel Stadium at least, like you're gonna just cover more ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like his problem's been in his knees, at least this
Yeah.
past season. I
Yeah, he
think
had an ACL.
I think he wants to keep his mobility kind of limited. If they, what really should be happening is Mike Trout should be DHing, but because the Angels are run by like monkeys,
Yeah,
they
or like aliens. I mean, literally,
they have
like,
Jorge Soler like DH. They're already there to DH, so like they
yeah,
can't. So right field, yeah, I think it's going to give him a little bit more, I was gonna say like flexibility, but like he doesn't have to have the range that he needs to have in center field.
Yeah.
Uh, so if I remember correctly, I gotta like maybe look, but Angel Stadium's right field is um
There's the big wall
shorter.
behind. Although now I think the big wall is a home run. If you hit the wall, it's a home run, which is so stupid. But
I That's really crazy to me. That's like if like hitting the monster above the scoreboard were a home run.
I hate that shit.
And
That's
that's just like
stupid.
crazy to me.
Yeah, there's a yellow line halfway up the wall. I'm looking at a picture. I also found the video
Yeah.
of and it is Angel Hernandez who makes the bad call, and it's egregious. It's just as
Yeah.
bad as I remember. I sent it to you.
But yeah,
Um,
if you look at the dimensions at Angel Stadium, like it is a like a short, both of their corner outfields are shallower. Like
mhm.
right field is literally 370 and then
Yeah, it is.
the corner is 350. So um God, center field's only 396. That is
Yeah,
so
Angel Stadium is not that big. I mean, it's
no,
not.
I mean, yeah, no, it's not. It's left field. It's got a deep left field for what its dimensions are, like 390 to left, and then it's 396 to center. Like that part's
Right.
like deep for what it is, but yeah, it's not a deep ballpark.
So it will, yeah, it'll probably prevent injury. I just think it's interesting because it's like,
Dude,
I think in right field, I mean, he's had shoulder problems too, making that throw. That's not
yeah,
super easy. I
right.
mean,
That'll be easier too from right.
yeah, the throw from right to third is
He's
a
not going to be making that throw.
no. I mean, that's a heave. That's a serious throw. So it's interesting though, because that leads me to
Actually, I would play him in left then, I guess, if you want to like,
that's what I would have thought, or DH. I mean, I think you're right. It's like they're just they got to get their money's worth out of Mike Trout. But um, will we see Mike Trout play 140 games of baseball in a season ever again?
dude, I hope so.
I do
I
too.
really
I pull for Mike Trout, man. I love Mike
He's
Trout.
so nice. I mean, even like you just like look at the numbers from the seasons that he has had cut short because of injury, and like those numbers are like for that sample size, they're crazy nice.
Bro, he's insane. Yeah, he's literally insane. He's been an all-star every year except
It's
for his first year as a 19-year-old and last year because he was injured.
yeah, it sucks. Because yeah, you want him to do well. I also just like I don't know why he's so like adamant that he be an angel. Like
Yeah, I mean, he must really love living in Anaheim. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at his numbers though. Seriously, it's like, dude, if he averaged, well, he actually does technically. Wait, what? How is that possible?
what?
162 game average. He does not. That's not right. If
Wait, are
he
you talking about like
averaged
on
how many
the
games he plays a season, but he's literally never played. There's an error on baseball reference. But if he
facts?
averaged playing 140 games a season, like it looks like his average is like 119 or 20, he would be already over all the
Wait,
counting stats necessary to
what
be in the Hall of Fame.
what's what is baseball reference getting wrong here? I'm looking at it now.
It says, look at the bottom. It says 162 game average
Yeah, so
games.
that's like if he like on
But
average, if Mike Trout plays 162 games, that's going to
these are
be
I see. I was thinking of it as if he were a player on a roster for 162 games, how
no,
many
no,
of those
no.
games would he play? I
It's like
see.
based on his numbers, like what is his average full season going to look like?
So he's averaging in 14 seasons. We'll
Yeah,
say 13. Let's just take the one out, the 60 games, and I'll subtract it. So that's 14. Sorry for the math, everybody. I know this is awful. I know this is terrible. I know you guys hate it. Times
cut a lot of it. Don't worry.
he's averaging 113 games a season.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would love to see him do that this year.
Yeah, if he could reach that, that'd
Love
be great.
a healthy year from him. Um,
What was your other point you were going to bring
oh
up? You were
yeah,
going to bring up something else.
MLB and ESPN are opting out of their contract after this season.
No more Monday Night Baseball,
No
huh?
more Monday night, Sunday night baseball. I mean,
Da, 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 da,
honestly,
da.
ESPN has been giving baseball the finger for like a
Yeah,
decade.
ESPN sucks for baseball, honestly.
Like,
I'm actually surprised about that, though. You know why? Because A-Rod and they brought A-Rod and Michael Kay, and they have a broadcast they do,
yeah,
and they had the playoff series. They had all the wild card series.
yeah. You see,
So,
Joe Buck's actually going to come back to baseball for a game.
yeah, I saw.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. He's doing. Unfortunately, he's doing a Yankees. Also, the Yankees starting the season against the Brewers is like
Yeah.
I don't like interleague. I don't.
I miss when it was when we were kids, it was like a week. They would have
Yeah,
interleague week. That was cool.
that was cool. I know my mom always she's always like she's always talking about how much she hates interleague.
I
She's just
liked
like,
it when it was a thing. It was like, oh, it's interleague week.
I don't also like want to play every team in the National League. Like,
I don't mind it as much because it's fun watching. October is like my favorite month. Like I love
yeah,
playoff baseball. It's just so fun. And even when the Red Sox aren't in it, it's so fun to watch teams that you wouldn't ordinarily watch. Like this past year, I was like locked in on like Guardians, Tigers. You know what I mean? And like a
yeah.
lot of those NL teams, I just wouldn't watch. I don't watch NL baseball because my team is an AL team. So like, I'm not watching the Phillies. I'm not watching. I mean, I watch the Dodgers because I live here, but I'm not watching the Padres. I'm not watching fucking any of those teams. And then it's cool when we play them in the season. Like, oh yeah, I forgot that guy. He's pretty good. They got him. You know, it's cool to give you a taste of what's around the league. I think it's kind of cool.
Did you see Gleyber Torres showing up to Tiger Camp with the beard?
Oh, I love it. I didn't see that, but
He
I
looks
gotta see
good.
that. That's
He looks
fantastic.
handsome, and it's just like,
He's such an interesting player. I mean, he's
but
so lazy.
he comes in with this beard. He comes in
Wow,
looking
look at
good.
him. Holy
It's like,
hell.
hey, Yankees, drop the fucking rule. Like, drop your weird clean cut rule. It's so dumb.
Yeah, he has some. This is interesting. He had a quote he made. Gleyber Torres on his former team, the Yankees. Quote: "To be honest, I don't know what was going on there. I believed everything was good, but now I think no. So I don't want to give any comments. Little
What
shade.
what does that mean?
I don't know. Probably he probably thought they were going to bring him back, and then they
Yeah.
cooked him.
Oh, Aaron Boone, by the way, got a 2-year extension.
Good.
Yeah,
That's great. We love
that's
that.
good for us.
We'll hit a lot of ground balls at them and let them boot them. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I really don't know with the Yankees, man. But yeah, I hate the fucking beard thing. It's really stupid, but it's
yeah,
never going
I
to change.
feel bad for Devin Williams, man. It's just like it's not the
Yeah.
same.
Dude, I'm not looking forward to facing Devin Williams. That guy
Remember,
is hard to hit.
yeah, but remember, like this postseason,
He
he
gave up
looked,
the home run to Pete Alonso.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I just think he's really good though.
he is.
He's got like a disappearing changeup. I mean, he's super nasty.
Yeah.
Um yeah, man. I mean, it's exciting times. I think our first spring training game is Saturday, 2 days from now.
Is that the one against Northeastern, or is there?
No, Northeastern's tomorrow. We play the Rays, our first major league one. We
Yeah,
play the Rays at
I
10
think
o'clock.
who's starting that game? Because I saw I saw the answer and I forgot.
I'm
Um,
excited, man. I need baseball. I
I'm
need it bad.
excited too. It's gonna be great.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can't wait to get into the swing of like daily games and
yeah. Oh,
um
also, I totally like I don't know why this reminds me. Oh, it is gonna be Quinn Priester who starts against Tampa.
okay.
And then Crochet has the next game. Um, when I first saw Lucas Giolito at camp, I was like, Mike Napoli? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I
Like,
know. Isn't that crazy?
dude,
Bro, speaking of
oh,
Mike Napoli, I was just watching his home run against the Tigers.
I
That popped up on YouTube. Love Mike Napoli.
I remember like the whole beard thing in 2013 was like so funny to me because like I was so used to like Johnny Damon. Like I'm like, okay, yeah, they got beards. Like what? So like they all
Yeah.
have beards.
Nah, I
But
love that shit.
oh God, that was cool. I hope
Yeah.
we do something like that again. Like I'd love to see. I mean, Alex Bregman with like a big beard.
A
That'd be
big, yeah. I mean, that kind of stuff does make a difference. Like players get involved in that kind of shit. It's interesting though, just a little tidbit to throw at you too. I was listening to Jared Carabas the other day, and
yeah,
he was talking about how last year the projected opening day starter pre-injury, pre-realizing he was not going to pitch, was Lucas Giolito.
yeah.
That was our projected opening day starter. Lucas Giolito is now fifth in the rotation.
That is a really yeah.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
that's awesome. I mean, that just goes to show like the Red Sox are a very like not much has changed, but a lot has changed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I
I mean, it's a different team this time. It's amazing what a year does. It's amazing what a
yeah,
few good prospects and some overperforming, like it's incredible what that can do to your the confidence of a team. Like we went out and got Alex Bregman from it, you know?
yeah. No, it's gonna be cool. I love that I was reading like that I think he mentioned this in the interview too that he and his wife gave the Red Sox 16 pages of questions.
What?
like about the like the schools like for their like kids or whatever, like where
Wow.
to like live, like what's Bregman's questions for like what's your plan to live or plan to win now? What's your plan to win, long term? Like and it's just like I was like 16 pages. Like I can't even think of 16 pages of questions. Like
Yeah, that's I mean, hey, I like that though.
yeah,
I like the due diligence. I'm a fan,
yeah.
you know.
And she's also I think going to his Alex Bregman's wife, whose name escapes me. Like she's
Reagan.
thank you. Reagan's going to Reagan Bregman's going to wait, sorry. I just realized her name is Reagan Bregman and
Reagan Bregman. I
that's
literally only
awesome.
know that because I literally just read an article about Alex Bregman and his family moving to Boston like
I
2 hours before we recorded this.
literally cannot say that name 5 times fast, but anyway, good for her. But she's like, yeah, going to Harvard as well. Like,
Oh, that's cool.
and I thought it was so funny because I was like, oh, she got into Harvard Business School, like she's going to Harvard. Alex is coming to the Red Sox. I was like, this is literally the Jordan Montgomery bullshit that we dealt with all winter last year that didn't
Yeah.
happen because his
Yeah.
wife was at like BU.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, he has
Yeah.
to come to Boston. His wife's here. It's like,
You know what? One of the weirdest, here's one of the weirdest ones too that I remember from back. Eric Hosmer, when he was a big free agent, not when we had him, but when he was
I
like a
was gonna say,
hot on the market, like when he was like, he got paid, I think. He got,
yeah,
when he got his big contract from San Diego, we were in on him. We didn't end up getting him, obviously. But everybody on Red Sox Twitter, I think that was 2018. Everybody on Red Sox Twitter was like, we're about to get Haas, we're about to get Haas because his wife works at Nesson as a researcher or something like that. I was like, what the fuck? That is so
I mean,
weird. Like, what a
I,
weird,
I
connection.
mean, I do have to say, like, I mean, you're married, I'm not. So, like, maybe you can speak to this better. I feel like if my wife was like working in a city and I was shopping around, like, what city do I want to go work in? She'd probably be like, hey, like, you should come here. And I'd be
Yes.
like, yeah.
Yes. Correct. Yeah.
Right.
That's,
So, like, I'm confused how that's not always the case, but
yeah.
whatever.
I mean, I will say, like, and I don't mean that in a like, yes, of course. Like when you're married, you're a team. Like
Yeah.
you do everything as a team. Your team, honestly, and I really being such a huge sports fan, it's crazy to say this, but like the team that you care about the most is you and your wife, is your family. Like
Yeah.
that's your team more than whatever team you play for. So yeah, if you have a partner who's like, hey, I don't want to live in Detroit because XYZ or the
Yeah.
schools or the houses or whatever, then it's like, even if you grow up a Tigers fan, sorry, I'm not playing in Detroit.
Yeah. Because
That's
otherwise,
how it
like,
goes.
yeah, that commute's going to be gnarly otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I'm just like listening because I really didn't like listen to Alex Bregman talk at all until he like obviously until he became a Red Sox.
Hmm.
Listening to his interviews, I'm like, this is a cool dude. This
He's
is like
cool and he's very smart. He's very well spoken.
he seems just like very nice,
Yeah.
very chill. I don't know. Are you familiar with Smosh at all?
Yeah, of course.
You
Yeah.
know Shane Top?
Yeah.
I feel like Bregman kind of looks
Yeah.
like Top.
Yeah. That's funny. That's
Yeah.
funny.
I was like, all right, cool.
Um,
Yeah.
I've always kept up with Alex Bregman on social media. I mean, I'm a left-leaning musician living in Los Angeles, so and he shares a lot of
Yeah.
opinions that I agree with, so that's cool. Not to make this it's not a political pod, but yeah. Um, yeah, so I've always thought he seemed like a cool enough dude. I fucking hated him when he was a cheat, like when he was cheating with the Astros. I just fucking couldn't stand him.
Yeah.
But I always kind of had a secret admiration for his hustle. And I also remember him in college. And I remember watching games of him in college and being like, whoa, like this guy's fucking
Yeah.
sick. He's playing shortstop back then. He was nasty.
Yeah.
Um, so hey,
He,
we got a good one, man. I mean, he's a good player. He's gonna be great. I'm excited. I definitely think that the lineup looks so fucking terrifying now with him in it.
it's gonna be crazy. I mean, it's gonna be crazy if I mean, especially if like Anthony and Campbell make the opening day roster.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's gonna
it's a stacked team. It's really, really it's funny just to hear like, again, like I'll listen to John Boy and stuff, and those guys are like Yankees fans, and they're like, we're actually scared of the Red Sox. Which
yeah, that's
I
what I
haven't
want.
I haven't heard even 2021 people weren't saying that because we
No,
kind of
no.
fluked in a little bit at the
Yeah.
end and we had the COVID thing and like we lost a bunch of players. So um, we are not we haven't been a feared contender since 2018.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
crazy to hear Yankees fans who are literally just in the World Series saying, holy shit, we don't want to play the Red Sox.
It's awesome. I literally can't wait.
Yeah,
Um,
it's gonna be a good year.
yeah. Last thing before we wrap it up,
Yeah.
we were talking earlier this week about how Adam Ottavino signed a minor league
Yeah,
deal,
that's right.
which is like a crazy 2021 throwback. I
I
don't even want
liked
to talk about.
Otto.
Yeah, he's great. I don't want to even talk about him as a pitcher. I just think it's really funny that the jersey number he picked for spring training is 00. Like he picked
Hmm.
00, which with his name like is funny.
What
But
did he wear before?
he wore 0, which is
Yeah.
Walker Bueller's number. And so
Oh.
I'm like, wait a minute, why'd you guys give Ottavino 00? That's still 0. That's the same number. Like, you don't give a guy like like if you give a guy a jersey that says has 1 on it and then a jersey that has 1 on it, it's like, well, that's 11. That's a different,
Right.
like, I don't know.
Yeah, 0-0 is just zero.
It's just weird. It looks weird on the jersey, honestly.
I'll tell you what, dude. He might make the major league roster.
Where we don't have room for him.
I don't
Like,
know though. I feel like well, he's getting old. I always just man, I like Ottavino. I liked him a lot in 2021, man. He was one of the only guys in the pen that was reliable that year.
he
Cuz
might be a Garrett Cooper situation like last year, or like he maybe gets a couple
right.
of games, but then we kind of don't need him and we cut him loose.
Yeah, cuz our bullpen, if I look here, he's listed in the bullpen right now, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Slayton's really, really good. Hendricks, Chapman, Weissert, Winkowski. I always forget about Winkowski. I like him.
Yeah.
Bernardino. It is a lot of. Well,
Jesse
actually, no. It's a
Morton.
pretty even split. I got to be honest. You're probably right. He probably. Damn. What the fuck? Did you know he's listed as a switch hitter?
Who?
Ottavino.
No, no, what?
What the hell? Why is he
That's
listed as a switch
awesome.
hitter? No way.
Dude, I want to see him hit now.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking it up. Let's see if there's. No,
I
there's no videos of him hitting. That's
I would
crazy.
actually I think that's the one thing that Otani could do like that he has left to do is like if Otani took an at bat right-handed, I would really like to see that.
All
All
right,
right.
gangster. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Cool.
So next time we chat, we'll have some games to break down, some
Have some
spring training
games.
games.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
Hell yeah.
Um, yeah, as always, guys, be sure to like and subscribe and check us out on Substack. And also just like, I don't know, share this podcast with people.
Yeah, tell your friends, tell your
We
mom.
want fans and followers. Yeah.
Yeah, share with some Yankees fans that are scared of the
Yeah.
Red Sox.
They'll totally listen.
They'll love it. Cool. All right, man.